Diversity and the endless maze of sterile streets. It's no surprise that suburban horror is a popular genre seen in countless movies and shows. But what's even more prevalent are images of suburbs being used as liminal spaces. Liminal spaces are an in-between or transitional space between two places. Think of hallways, stairwells, or airports. These images have become very popular on the internet, depicting eerie abandoned places that evoke feelings of unease, nostalgia, and sadness. So is it not concerning that the places we live in are considered strange and creepy?
Why does everything in America look like this? There's no good urban planning anymore.
I think like the silence of the suburbs that kind of scare me. Like it's quiet.
Us humans make sense of our environment through context. Playgrounds should have kids playing in it, malls should have people shopping, and parking lots should be full of cars. But when you take these environments away from their context, it creates a strange and uncanny feeling that something is missing. Picture a playground at night, an abandoned mall, or an empty parking lot. This is the essence of what makes these liminal space images feel so weird. The term for this is called canopsia, a place that's usually bustling with people, but is now abandoned and quiet. These images give off the feeling that humans have suddenly disappeared and we are peering into a post-apocalyptic world. But despite this, these places still appear neat and well-maintained. Who's mopping the floors? What's keeping the lights on? Suburbia is built like a city. You have houses, sidewalks, and streets, but where is everyone? Everything appears neat and organized despite being so desolate. It's the perfectly manicured lawns and the uniformity of the houses. Almost everyone is driving in cars because suburbia is designed exclusively for cars and nothing is at a human scale. It's the large signs used to catch drivers' attention and the massive roads and parking lots made to accommodate all the traffic. And the architecture is bland and functional because if everyone's going to drive past it, why bother making it look nice? This also means suburbia is devoid of people. Everything is too far and dangerous to walk anywhere because our streets are built like highways. They use wide, highway-sized lanes, and the road itself is flat and straight, allowing drivers to drive at high speeds. These look a lot more like racetracks than a city street. So everything becomes a thoroughfare rather than a destination. Everywhere becomes a place to drive through and not a place to drive to. But despite how car-centric it is, the concept of suburbia has nothing to do with cars. The definition of suburbs are literally just places on the outskirts of a city, and they have existed for centuries. Suburbanites from the Roman Empire were definitely not driving around in their Ford F-150s. Even today, you find suburbs all over the world, and apart from North America and a few other English-speaking countries, they're vastly different. Even North American cities used to build walkable human-scaled suburbs. The reason we don't build suburbs like this anymore is because we made it illegal. Zoning laws dictate what kinds of buildings can be built and where. This place is zoned for stores, and this area is zoned for apartments. But a majority of our residential land is zoned exclusively for single-family homes and nothing else. This is why suburbia has the same repetitive cookie-cutter houses, because it's literally illegal to build anything else. Then there's parking minimums. I already talked about this in a previous video, but essentially, these laws force every building to provide an excessive amount of parking. It's estimated that there are 8 parking spaces for every car in America. Humans like to be spatially contained by walls because it makes us feel protected. So when you're standing in the middle of a giant Walmart parking lot, you feel exposed and uncomfortable. If that wasn't enough, many suburban neighborhoods have what's called homeowners associations, or HOAs, which are basically organizations that enforce rules on residents and their property. This usually prevents you from changing how your home looks, such as painting your front door a different color or installing a certain kind of fence. Sometimes you can't even install solar panels because they would be, quote, too visible from the street. Freedom, am I right? Because the design of suburbia is dictated by so many rules, everywhere starts to look the same. Can you guess where this footage was taken from? This is why people describe liminal space images as oddly familiar and why people feel so nostalgic about them, even if they've never actually been to where these pictures were taken. Because when everything everywhere looks the same, they all lack identity and a sense of place. Places lack a sense of place when they have no connection to where they're located. Think of gas stations, fast food chains, and department stores. These are non-places, places that could be anywhere but are simultaneously nowhere. Car-dependent infrastructure is incompatible with local small businesses. Large single-use buildings and parking lots are expensive and only corporations can afford them, compared to smaller lots that are right up against the streets. And because car-centric infrastructure makes everything spread out, it takes more time to drive to different stores and find parking. So it becomes more convenient to do all your shopping in one place. This results in the copy and paste town, a place that has nothing unique and only the same chain stores as the one next to it. Unsurprisingly, people make fun of this all the time. Here's a beautiful natural landscape, all it needs is a highway and a Walmart parking lot. Nature is rarely found in liminal spaces because they have no context. They just grow wherever they want, whenever they want. They're not unnatural. Cities, although man-made, are similar to nature. They have always formed and grown incrementally rather than orderly. As the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, and great cities weren't either. In the past, they started out as small villages beside a river or a train station. People had a tiny wooden shack and a dream. As time went by, more and more people moved into the village and incrementally built more onto it. Soon, those small crummy shacks became three-story brick buildings, and that bumpy dirt road got paved with smooth asphalt. Modern suburbia, on the other hand, is built all at once to a finished state. One day you have a piece of farmland, and overnight an entire neighborhood pops out of nowhere. Once it's built, zoning laws prevent it from changing and adapting. They're frozen in place. The best you can do is renovate your house, but when your city is going through a housing crisis, you can't simply build onto these places. You have to sprawl further out and eat up more land.